रोहित ऑनलाइन है? ओके। नमस्कार और फिर से आप सभी का हम यहाँ पे स्वागत करते हैं। जो मित्र हमसे इस कार्यशाला में ऑनलाइन जुड़े हैं, आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस कार्यशाला के पहले दिन के दूसरे सत्र में। और जैसा कि पहले के सत्र में बताया गया कि प्रतिदिन प्राचीन अभिलेख और भारतीय पुरालिपि के जो विविध आयाम हैं, उनकी बेहतर समझ के लिए और प्राचीन लिपियों को, प्राचीन अक्षरों को पहचानने, व्यवहारिक रूप से उनके वाचन और अभिलेखीकरण की क्षमता विकसित करने के उद्देश्य से यह कार्यशाला आयोजित की गई है। और मैं अपनी बात को ज़्यादा लंबा न करते हुए मैं हमारे साथ विद्यमान हैं हमारे इस कार्यशाला के प्रशिक्षक, हमारे मेंटर डॉक्टर टी.एस. रविशंकर साहब। मैं अनुरोध करूंगा कि आज के इस द्वितीय सत्र को आरंभ करें। थैंक यू सर।
पानी मंगवाए। धन्यवाद। अभी हम दो तीन चीज़ जनरल इंट्रोडक्शन की तरफ से देखेंगे। एंटिक्विटी ऑफ राइटिंग। जस्ट I was mentioning in the morning introductory talk, before we come to the regular system of writing, we should try to know the origin of writing. When did it start in the scheme of evolution? See, mankind was in existence in many, many thousands and millions of years. Compared to the long time lag, the art of writing comparatively is of a later discovery or invention, I should say. There are many who have written books on the antiquity of writing, but David Dirringer has comprehensively dealt with the subject in his two monumental books. One is Writing and another is Alphabet. Writing is a smaller version, but he has very comprehensively dealt with the subject. And personally also I feel knowledge of ancient system of writing is very much essential especially when we deal with the Indus system of writing. Unless you are aware of their contemporary writings that prevailed in Mesopotamia, Egypt, or any of the other countries. Dirringer also has observed, even Dhani has said, we can't see things in isolation. So perhaps a deeper understanding of the system that prevailed in the past in other continents, it may lead further in the successful decipherment of the Indus script. So, more than the discovery, the wheel, or the fire. Derringer has said the greatest discovery of the mankind, or the invention, I should say, is the art of writing. Not even wheel, not even fire, though it took us to different level in the evolutionary process. See, many of us, we are writing our own script, other scripts, but very few of us, we have not tried to understand what's the definition of writing. It appears very simple, but any of us, can you put it in simple, what is the definition of writing? He has said in a very brief manner, graphic representation of a language is called writing. You can elaborate, you can define in many ways, but he has said in simple terms, writing is nothing but a graphic representation of a language. I was mentioning in the beginning in the morning whether language did come first or the script. So in the ancient world, language did exist. Many of the languages died on its own at the incipient beginning level because there was no system of writing. Only when they devised, gave some syllabic or something, then only it remained as a language you can understand, you can read the script, and also because script can be used to write any language. In Nagari script, Devanagari, you can write either Sanskrit or Kannada, Marathi, anything. So script, through script you can write certain script, you can write any. So the basic thing is, I am not going deeper because there are many important subjects before us. I request, I think PDF also may be available. David Derringer, please read the book, Writing. There are very good number of illustrations also. He has at length discussed about the various systems, evolutionary process of writing. Normal. Warm. ठंडा पानी नहीं चाहिए, गला So in the realm of humanities, one area which has not received attention in this study is, many of you who are students, who are reading epigraphy related subject, directly we come to the Brahmi or some period, are we reflecting how the system of writing that prevailed in Mesopotamia or something, or hieroglyphic or this system? No. We should try to understand, because we don't go to the roots. It's automatically question should come to you, when did the art of writing started in the whole world? If at all now we are writing, everything has a history. You go to a practice, he will see the history, what the background, what disease he suffered. History is a thing. Whether it is in the area of medicine or any area, it has its own background. History we should try to understand. Then we will be able to connect and it's very essential. Even some young boy may pose a question, when did the writing start? Because their curious mind, works much faster than as young children, very smart people, young boys, they raise such intelligent questions. So humanities has not received the much attention, and overall I should say, in the present education system also, humanities history, there is more thrust on IT related subjects, engineering. Everyone aspires to become an engineer or some software professional. Why not something? Are we not, we have enough material or things before us. Do we have that expertise with us to know our past? So, whether it is the institution, the department, or the university, even the government should have a balanced approach where humanities also should be supported. Necessary infrastructure we should have. While it is teaching or in a department, there should be a curator. There are many things, there are no apt professionals to handle things. Many posts are lying vacant, either abolished. So, in whether it is museum or university or at different level, the humanities should be supported, and the basic question many times, the students also ask, okay sir, let me take epigraphy. Can I have a livelihood? Can I make out good when I take up a job in the area of epigraphy? Yes, then you go blank. How many universities have a professor with teaching epigraphy as one of the main disciplines? Or the department where we have curators exclusively devoted for epigraphy and numismatics in archaeology? Or in archaeology department, do we have a numismatist or epigraphist to exclusively handle? So there are ample opportunities before the government, before the university, but they are not looking at that thing. Because it's time, to reflect. You are all students, not I should say mature enough to look what is it's not merely reflecting. Tomorrow when you get to some position, you should be able to set right the situation. I am reflecting upon this thing, it's sometime I devote also. What are the problems and perspectives of epigraphical studies? In IIT Gandhinagar also I give a talk, what ails Indian epigraphy? What's the problem? Why we don't have resource persons to tackle? Because that was, I didn't take up any particular technical subject, but this was my subject which I put forth before the audience. What ails Indian epigraphy? So, these are the things we have to address. It's not just sitting and learning something and going. You have to reflect upon the present scenario. Are we doing the required, trying to restore? We all bask on the past achievements. Sarkar did so, Chabra did this work, did Fleet. What are we doing? What are we contributing to uplift the subject? So, this is very much essential, at least among younger generation. If I put forth a certain present scenario, at least sometime this can be remedied when the situation comes. So it's painful rather that when the organizations also taking initiative, of course here the response is very good, but at times they have to go back when there is no proper response coming from the participants. And many talks go on iconography, other aspects, but why not epigraphy also being form part of it? Because to correlate it's a multidimensional approach, why we are not taking this. So these are certain issues we have to look into this. So I told just now, is a graphic representation of language when it comes to definition. And then language, distinguishes man from a barbarian. Earlier, they used to nomads, keep moving from place to place, no place. The settlement happened when there is certain required things were there. But earlier they were moving from place to place. So in the absence of writing, you just imagine today what I am talking or what I am writing, you just go back some millions of years ago, just when there is no system of writing at all existed, what's the total darkness. Now in a click, you know what's happening in some corner of the country or in the world. So see the amount of the progress we have done. So in the absence, we would have been in total darkness as far as knowledge is concerned. Our means of communication would have been totally paralyzed. So this is the thing. Writing obviously presupposes the existence of spoken language and is relatively of recent invention. Say some 10,000 years, megalithic period. Because in the upper Paleolithic period, they say we have the presence of some petroglyphs on earth, on small pebbles you find some circles and cross, some way of expression, it is there. So it's very recent, in the sense, existence of mankind. This art of writing is a very late thing. So origin and development of writing can be broadly categorized into three different stages. One is the prehistoric cave wall paintings. Okay, even when you go to Bhimbetka and all, you have a lot of paintings around. See, it all depends upon a prehistoric art historian will view in a different manner. And we try to interpret, yes, if a running deer and if a man releases the arrow, we interpret, he wants to communicate this. There was no language, this is pictography. How we will say, I shot a deer, or if it is raining, he will show some wavy, the clouds and the rain drops, or the river flowing, he will show some waves. So all he expressed through pictography. And that is the first stage where a man tried to communicate his thought through pictures. That is called pictography. So here we have these two prehistoric cave wall paintings, that is Upper Paleolithic period, and carving on small objects. These are the two categories. And the second variety, you find circles and other symbols full of variety. But I am showing how you can access the source or try to know more about it. It's a very fascinating thing. Once you start reading, you will develop how the Chinese system of writing and so many things. So here the cuneiform and hieroglyphic system that came into existence in the middle of the 4th millennium BC. That is 4,500 years. So the cuneiform and hieroglyphic. These are the two major scripts that prevail in different parts, especially Egypt and all. that you find this. So different stages in the evolution of writing, this is a very important thing. So pictography, as I explained, man began his writing with picture writing. That is the first stage. This is most primitive stage of true writing. Picture writing are found everywhere in the more prehistoric inhabitants of Egypt, Mesopotamia, Phoenicia, Crete, Spain, and southern France, and there are many more other countries where you find the prevalence of pictorial writing. And the second stage, it evolved a little stage. It's called ideography, idea. How ideography is nothing but your idea. When you have some idea, how you will convey to other person. It's called ideography. It's a little evolved. Pictorial is there. As I told, when it is raining, he will show some clouds and drops of water, or that is a little, he made it little brief. Instead of what idea he had, he conveyed through ideography. That is the second stage in the evolution. बाद में सिंह साहब से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, he will summarize in the end, in brief in Hindi, for the benefit of other scholars. So the third stage is the phonetic writing. Phonetic means attaching a sound to a symbol. Now Brahmi we say, we letter like a cross, we have given the sound ka. See, it's little, maybe they may depict a crow and give some sound. So attaching a symbol and giving some phonetic value to that. So in this system, the single symbols represent syllables or vowels. A combination of such signs, 2, 3, a combination of signs representing a group of syllables would convey a spoken word, and group of word is a sentence. See, that's this one. So perhaps these definitions you will understand when you reread it. Either you can take a snap, or you have the book where it is. I have taken only the very brief portion. I am not going in elaboration because this is essential foundation for understanding writing. Simply I can't come to Ashokan or the antiquity of writing in India. Before that there existed something which we have to know. So another is syllabic writing. It's very, in this system, the single symbol represents syllables or vowels, syllabic. A combination of signs represent a group of syllables conveying a spoken word. So this is in brief the brief about the evolutions that are, this is the fourth stage. And what now at present we have, that is called alphabetic stage. At present we say alphabets, whether it is Roman or Nagari, anything we say alphabets. Alpha, beta, like this, there is an origin in this. Somewhere around the 1st century of the beginning of the Christian era, or end also the before Christ. So this originated. So this you try to reread to understand the concept. I have tried to give you once again you may have to read to understand the differences or the distinction. Now, two major systems of writing. One is cuneiform. Everybody would have, in fact, I was telling the young children, they know the cuneiform and the other system of writing because of they are much aware of the Egyptian way of writing, all these things. It's probably the most ancient system of writing. The cuneiform, the name, first suggested by Thomas Hyde, a British person, in the year 1700, he gave this name, cuneiform. Cuni, this wedge shape, it's a two-word forma that Latin or Roman, I don't know, this maybe Greek also. So it's a Latin word. Cuneus means wedge shape. Forma means form. Applied names we have got, we call it also wedge shaped, arrow-headed. These are the other names, but cuneiform we call in other one or two different names. So this largely sorry. So this system writing, Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, they used this in the middle of the 4000 BC. That's 4th millennium BC. Middle, 4500, something like that. So the important system is hieroglyphic. One is cuneiform, another is hieroglyphic writing. It is one of the most important system of hiero means holy. Holy, glyphin means to carve. Like epigraphy. Graphy means to incise, to cut it. So like this, holy. Hiero means holy, glyphin means to carve. There were other systems of writing, hieratic, demotic. These are other minor system of writing prevailed in the. So a major breakthrough in the recent years, not in the recent, many, the decipherment of Rosetta Stone, which is at present preserved in the British Museum, London. This is very major breakthrough. When it comes to the Harappan, I slightly reflect upon this. Had we got by this time a biscriptal or lingual, along with other, we would have long back deciphered Harappan. But unfortunately, there is nothing which could help us in this. Why Brahmi? Because of the other biscriptal thing, James Prinsep could make a headway in this decipherment. So, mainly because of this Rosetta Stone being in 3 scripts and 2 lines, it helped for them to mainly, they were already aware of the Greek script, and it helped them to decipher the other. So what is the object? It's a priestly decree, religious nature. So here, coming to that, is a priestly decree drawn in honor of Ptolemy. Most of you have heard who Ptolemy is. And it is in 2 versions and 3 scripts. Rosetta Stone is in 2 versions and 3 scripts. So the Egyptian text is written in hieroglyphic, demotic, both the scripts, Egyptian, and the Greek text is written in Greek characters. Now the inscription is preserved in the British Museum. So this is in brief about this. Now I will pass on to the antiquity of writing in India. Set aside for just I have given a very brief background. So you can read more about I told the writing by David Derringer. I think you can get it in PDF also. The earliest known system found in the seals, that's when I was referring to the protohistoric period. And the seals and sealings, that is supposed to be the benchmark for us to mention. The writing system was there. Whether we did successfully decipher, that's another question. But there existed, for all our purposes, the basis starts with the Indus writing. That's a thing, and I have not updated many archaeological facts here. When I drew, I think it's the Indus period is slightly pushed behind with so many excavations and others being done. I don't know exactly the lower limit. Earlier I have written 2500 BC. Now it may be even earlier. Our archaeologists will throw more light on this, perhaps regarding the earliest Indus settlements. Normally it goes with this. Along with all the settlements, I think most of the sites have yielded seals and sealings. I have not gone deeper into that. Many have questioned me also why you have taken interest in Indus studies. So I can't say. See, this is a very different area. You can't take in interest. I took passion only in teaching. Even if you ask me to write a very detailed, elaborate article, I don't do that. I don't have patience. But if you ask me to talk on some subject or that fascinates me, I do that. But not some do that also. That's why my articles and books are very few. In fact, I have been teaching, but not put it in the form of regular writing. So most of the talks are on YouTube, you can see. I have addressed various aspects, right from EPG Pathshala to this one. If you Google it, T.S. Ravishankar epigraphy, you get. But mere Ravishankar, you get His Holiness Ravishankar. Art of living. This art of writing, there it is art of living. So if you want to go art of living, you go to that Holiness Ravishankar. Otherwise you come to this epigraphist for to know art of writing. So this is the thing. So we have scholars, both indigenous, they say the 1750, that is the upper limit of this Indus seals. Then naturally the question comes, what's happened between that period? Then where is the antiquity of Brahmi? Because that's another issue. Antiquity of writing is different. Antiquity of Brahmi is different. Sometimes, the students get confused. They write about the origin of Brahmi script when we ask about the antiquity of writing. So it's though sometimes they overlap each, but they are different things. So here, what is that another place, in Orissa, Dr. Ramesh also deputed some persons to copy that. right now it's not coming to me. I will get back to you tomorrow after referring that. That they try to connect it with the Brahmi as a script, but later Dr. Ramesh and others, they disagreed. They saw it's simply marks and nothing to do with the Brahmi. That in 2 seasons, from our office, epigraphists also, they went and copied that. Singh Sahab, you remember that place in Orissa? Vikram Kol. Yeah, thank you. So Vikram Kol, twice they visited, and we have very huge stampage, I remember. But after meticulously Dr. Ramesh and all, they examining, they didn't say. But they were to connect it with the Indus or a period which is closer to that. Vikram Kol, yes, that is the place. So both the indigenous and have making efforts to decipher Indus script, but unfortunately, very recently also one of the students approached me from Deccan College. So I want to do research in Indus. I told research is very difficult. A new beginner, how can we guide to take up research in the Indus area? It's very difficult. Unless you contribute some articles and understand what previous scholars have written, how you can take ahead your views, or if you have totally something new to offer, it's a very big area. So I don't rather recommend that any student to take up research in the Indus seal. It's very difficult. Tomorrow somebody agree, disagree, that's a different thing. As a book, one can write. But to pursue as a research work is very difficult. So success is still eluding for us, and no acceptable key. Many scholars, they give different opinion. Of course, Major Lothal S.R. Rao has written wonderfully. I have tried to use some of this one. I would like to go with a brief history of the Indus civilization as far as the writing is concerned. That also I prepared, keeping some students in view. So there is a huge gap when we say graffiti. See, the graffiti marks, which has some resemblance with the Brahmi letters, you may find megalithic and chalcolithic pottery from southern and western India are there. But to connect it, it's again difficulty. So one is when we deal with the antiquity of writing, 2 aspects normally come. One is looking things from the archaeological point of view, and another is literary. Normally, these 2 things come. So there are literature, including from the Rigveda and all, many literature that has come, let it be Buddhist literature or Jaina or Brahminical, they have various references or terms connected with writing. Likhita, Likapita, Lekhani. There are many terms which signify there did exist a system of writing. Now we may not have, but we cannot deny the fact that there existed a system. Mostly after much thought, I thought it's on perishable material. People wrote, or the palm leaves or birch leaves are not new to our tradition. So a lot of secular literature or religious literature, they might have written on palm leaves, and over the period they are lost. But when we see the Brahmi, we get it in totally evolved form. when you see Ashokan rock edicts or any of the contemporary, it is in full-fledged, satisfying all the phonetic sounds, and you can write any Ashokan Brahmi, anything. Of course, Prakrit forms. Yes, with the introduction of Sanskrit, which I will show tomorrow, they had to make some improvements, add some more signs to suit the Sanskrit words. Prakrit, yes, when you say Dhamma, it is easy. Dha plus will. Dharma, they have to write on superstructure above, superscript, extending one stroke above to stand for Ma. That is Sanskrit, Dhamma and Dharma. So, Prakrit, it was there Ashokan, suitable. You can write any Prakrit form. Later, they had to add some more signs to get the Sanskrit words. So, Pali Buddhist canon, they do refer Jatakas, and the like Vinaya Pitaka contains numerous explicit reference. Sorry, here I have not. Vedas, Rigveda, on the grounds of certain therein to poetic meters, grammatical and phonetic terms in very large number. Pali Buddhist canon, like the Jatakas, like Vinaya Pitaka, contains numerous references regarding writing and the written documents. But they are fairly of a later period. The literary sources are much later. I have written on iconographical aspects and the epigraphical evidence. If some inscription referring to Tripitaka of Kushana period dated, it gives a firm chronological basis for you. When did that Buddhist text start? Because later we have many literary evidences are there. But the epigraphic evidence puts on a very firm foundation, at least the upper, it may be much earlier also, but if the earliest Jataka, if Kushan inscription or some early inscription refers to any of the literary works, it's natural, that at that time it was already familiar. People knew the text. But literary may go much later, like a post-Gupta period or even later. But earlier epigraphic evidence, that's what this multi-dimensional approach, multidisciplinary approach in understanding things. Evidence is there. And now, as to archaeological epigraphy for the antiquity of a historical period, Ashokan, of course, it forms one major separate category itself. Other than that, we have got Piprova, Saugora, Mahasthan, and which here also we have, I mentioned in the morning, about Jogimara and Siddhabanga caves, which also goes to on paleographical grounds. Scholars have dated it to 3rd century BC. So many scholars of the opinion that these inscriptions are contemporary to Ashokan rock inscription. Yes, Sarkar also has dated this. Now coming, this how a body recently have come to light. This I have to revise now. Kiredi and other Tamil Nadu, Professor Rajan and others, they have discovered some early Brahmi inscription, Tamil Brahmi, which they have taken it to 5th century Common Era, along with other archaeological evidences. So the antiquity earlier, what we were thinking of Anuradhapura excavation earlier, much earlier, the scholars like Ramesh and others, they took it to 4th century. Because basically, they are of fragmentary nature. A potsherd having 3-4 letters, how you can take, though with the other stratigraphical evidence, carbon-14 dating and all, you may date it to early period. But that's not a sure ground to take many things. So Anuradhapura excavations have revealed this is much earlier information. I have not updated this from the archaeological point of view, and this so in conclusion, both the literary epic evidence, antiquity of writing is still debated, discussed. When it's still, tomorrow we don't know. The spade of archaeologists, they may find something which much earlier. Still you are waiting for other evidences to come through to connect it with because there is a huge gap from the seals that are available and the later epigraphic evidences. So these I will slightly revert back and show you. These are the petroglyphs. I am taking you to again the first prehistoric thing you find. You can again find these illustrations in the writing by David Diringer. So these you see from different continents they have done this. These are the what you find, different signs which you find from the different continents, and I have tried to categorize this. Petroglyphs. So this in fact gives the from 3000 BC to 1000 BC, what are the main scripts that prevail? You see the numerical numbers, they represent the place they were there, including the cuneiform. They have shown this side here, and then the Mesopotamia and surrounding countries. Second is the Egyptian script, hieroglyphic, hieratic, demotic, Cretan scripts, Indus Valley script. Indus 4 is shown in India. Oh, thank you. Hello. 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 Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So this that is from 3000 to 1000 BC. A distribution, geographical distribution of different scripts shown in this plate. Of course, this is from Diringer's book where he has gone in detail. So from 1000 to 1st century BC, the second stage, you see the alphabet. First is the cuneiform scripts, again showed there. Cuneiform, Egyptian, Hittite, Chinese, Cyprus, Persian, semi-alphabetic cuneiform, Canaanite. These are different positions, each serial number you can try to see and try to locate this. This is the second. One is from 3rd century BC to 1000, and this is from 1000 BC to 1st century first BC, where in 13 we have got this Indian branch. So it needs a lot of reading and understanding. I have not gone deeper into this thing, but I am showing the way these books need to be read and understand the connection. Because ultimately, it's one link which is connecting the system, the evolution. Though much clarity is not there, this is the Rosetta Stone inscription, where you have got the inscription in hieroglyphic, Demotic, and Greek scripts. Though very recently I took an all-Europe tour, unfortunately they had excluded British Museum, which takes a whole day. It's a tour where none of the museum include in their travels. So we had to skip through these things. But I understand even the paperweight, I had one friend gave me Rosetta Stone used as a paperweight. And so much of clarity is there, it's a small piece, but very this one. So we can make beautifully such souvenirs like Harsha's Sohasto Mama or any such, we have got a beautiful calligraphic material to promote our tourism, to our culture. You can use this as a souvenir, either on a teacup or some, where many things are there. We have such a rich, we are not projecting it properly, so such souvenirs we can make to attract the students, the tourists rather. So, that's a very brief thing. थोड़ा आगे इसको next थोड़ा Indus. Next page. Story behind Indus. Yeah. सिंह साहब कुछ चाय का ब्रेक दे देंगे अभी इसके बाद हाँ यही चाय या this again a small presentation where I mostly kept the children in view. They were asking, sir, we want to know. I have excluded all the archaeological objects in this, taken only seals and sealing, what the scholars like S.R. Rao, Airavata Mahadevan and other, Asko Parpala, and their way of thinking about the Indus seal, only very broad, because I am putting things in their places before we proceed to the Brahmi. So a sequence is there. So this, it was a sheer serendipity, means actual, a surprise is find. Serendipity is a surprise finding. You don't know what you get. Suddenly some thrilling, great thing emerge, that is serendipity. That is sudden discovery. Came to light, which we were not knowing we had such a great civilization earlier. So this is the first mention about this, some civilization came as a casual reference or remark in 1826. Charles Mason mentioned about some ruins when he took a journey he found some ruins there. We didn't know the Harappan civilization till such time, and there is this one. A real picture emerged in 1856 when they took serious work. So the British, how they were laying a railway track between Lahore and Karachi. At that point of time, the great cities, emerged. So the engineers were using up quality bricks. They don't know. They didn't know about the Harappan bricks. Yet it came handy for them. They were using bricks for something because they could locate, pulled out from ruins, very good bricks along their routes. So Mr. Alexander Cunningham visits the site and announced for the first time the Indus Valley civilization. It's he who gave this. Around 1875, the first script surfaced. Alexander Cunningham published the drawing, the first seal picture, the Indus seal, but it was in 1912 under again John Faithful Fleet that a series of seals got unearthed and got attention of the scholars. So scholars were about the other features of the Indus seal, Indus sites, like a Great Bath or the structures and so many. So seal came much later, their attention, and then they started that. So the dimensions of the Indus civilization, its distinct grid layouts, as you all know, their elaborate drainage and puzzling pictographic script. Full implication of these finds were not realized before the excavation started in 1920 at Harappa, and by chance also simultaneously followed in Mohenjo-daro in the year 1922. First was the Harappa, followed by Mohenjo-daro in the year 1922. So external contacts the civilization had. It was apparent that Harappan had been in contact with the ancient cultures of West Asia. Indus seals are reported from Susa, Ur, and Mesopotamian sites. So from there too we have got Indus seals. So naturally this gives indication they must be in the know-how of that script. When it goes, something written on it, maybe at that point of time, they could understand what is written there. We don't know. This is one slight indication of its, this one, have been playing a leading role in the discovery of Indus civilization and its external relations. The function of the Indus seals, it is simple. Unfortunately, except the Dholavira, which has a longer characters of this one, others are very short, brief. This one prove that Indus served as instrument of controlling administration, trade, as in ancient West Africa. The quality of the seal increases with its size. The largest and most expensive seals must have belonged to the important persons in the hierarchy. The higher rung of the society must be having seals of higher quality, like faience and other material, ivory or such thing. Most of them are religious nature, maybe amuletic, जो बांधते इस तरफ में भी हाथ और इसमें गले में amuletic function, it may be there. So the enigma, the pictorial motif provide very best preserved examples of Harappan artistic, whether you take the bull, now even the Amul, later they adopted it for this external, this very, almost all representations are beautiful. So from the Indus script has been the most tantalizing one among many problems by the Harappan culture. Many attempted deciphering is unknown system since the first specimen published in. So now we are 2023, and right from 1875 onwards, still it is puzzling us. Still we are groping what it might be, what it's conveying. So documentation part, the collection, edition and careful indexing of all the existing material, the seminal work by G.R. Hunter, he did. So at that time, 518 texts, he made different, each giving each sign, so like that he found some 518, Mohenjo-daro, 243. So each, now it may be little more higher with the larger number of sites coming to light, even the symbols or it might have gone little more. See, another major by Askoparpala and Airavata Mahadevan, they have done research on this. So the direction of writing, it has been suggested they are writing from right to left. It begins from the side of the animal's head. When you see the tail, it ends. So normally, so that the direction is right to left. Where depicted to left to right, there are, but it's rare occurrence. Sometimes it is boustrophodon, I have not come across, where one line goes from right to left, again from right to left. That is called boustrophodon system, boustrophodon. One line running from right to left, again another line from left to right. So this is line.
Sir, this system is also found on the Shukar rocket itself?
Yes, correct. Challenges found: absence of bilingual, I was referring. Had it been bilingual, and if at all they wrote, what is the language it is written, we don't know. And very short nature. We don't have a long text running. It's all in the form of seals. We don't have, except the Dholavera where they have tried to interpret different things. It's difficult. So the distribution of script, Ganga Doab to Euphrates in the west, from north to Arabia to in the south. So this is this one, a map showing the distribution. This earlier one version I have taken from the S.R. Rao's book and Askoparpala also. But now few more sites, I think if we add, I don't know the present sequence. It need to be updated with the present sites that have come to light. So these are the things, and documented seals and sealings. Some 3,700 distributed in the southern Asia. Simple signs and composite signs. And the material, what we get is on steatite, marble, calcite, limestone, silver, copper, faience, terracotta. These are shell, bone, and ivory also. So remarkable addition to this signboard is Dholavira, consisting signs of 37 centimeter high and 27 centimeter wide. So they have given the dimension, the length and breadth of the writing. So pioneering work, 94, Ascoparpala, chief editor of the Encyclopedia of the Corpus of Indus seals, he has done. Work is the result nearly 2.5 decades placed in the study of Indus seals on a proper trajectory. And another important work is Indus script, a concordance. So major types of the logographic, logosyllabic, syllabic and alphabetics. So these are they have tried to classify the number and type of signs with ancient script, language and script. So there are scholars when we say, Dravidian origin language like Father Heras, Zaid, Airavata Mahadevan, Ascoparpala and others. So European origin when they say Mitchner, Krishna Rao, Priyanka and Matunga, some scholars, they opined like this as far as the origin, the script. Key elements concentrate, what we have to do, they have suggested, concentrate on analysis of the structural context in which these inscriptions have been found. Little research has actually gone in carrying out such areas, and interpretations for the use of Indus script have renamed it very general levels. So here, Meadows and Kena, their observations are noteworthy in this context. Modern archaeological techniques of excavation combined with technical and contextual analysis should enable us to gain better understanding of the cultural domain of the inscribed items as opposed to knowledge of the actual language, decipherment of which still remain a distant dream. So further I have narrated so many things. In conclusion, the question is how can we possibly approach the question of decipherment of an unknown script of an unknown language. That's the thing. So many scholars agree that the corpus of Indus script which has been surveyed with the archaeological record is only a fragment of what may have been written on perishable material. So again at that point of time, this might have had some religious, some significance. A larger text, they could have written on some perishable material which has not come down to us, that cannot be ruled out also. So these are the things which have to keep in mind. So again, these are the list of signs which we get in the Indus. They have sorted out, which is very much there. So list of signs. So these are the various signs you find in the when you read the book by S.R. Rao and Ascoparpala, you get to know a very comprehensive, that's what to take any further study, any subject for that matter, we have to read what previously scholars have. It's not something you're starting again, new thing. What their observation, how far you can take ahead, what they have not told. Otherwise, if many scholars, they write article without referring to the earlier references. They say as though something new with a wrong interpretation, wrong understanding. So the basic, my boss, when any object comes, From the library, at least you used to get some 10 books related with that. Ravi Shankar ji, jab hum likhenge, next time nobody should ask further. We have to give such a befitting, correct reply. And he used to thoroughly analyze anything, no hurriedly giving no reply. He used to examine each and everything, then once he go, there arises this one. And there was a time, most of the professors even, when DC Chhabra, DC Sarkar or Chhabra, that used to be the final judgment. No professor used to raise anything. Even there used to be huge clash between Professor Mirashi and Sarkar. Both the giants in their own way. If Sarkar writes, Mirashi used to write, counter it. That was a very high intellectual level of treating things. At that point of time, they used to write. So this is how our approach. It's not in a slipshod way. Something you get, you write immediately. Now I have seen, if any seal or anything comes, with the computer, they doctor it. बहुत जल्दी देना है, कुछ ना कुछ पढ़ो, and make out some sense. Whether it really fits in, आजकल वो कर देते, जल्दी में वो कंप्यूटर से they draw some line. ये पा हो सकता है सारे कुछ, they want to instantly take out a meaning. But without knowing other aspects connected with that, this is a very serious thing for the scholars, especially with the doctoring, not good. They used to do that. Yeah, thank you. ST, yeah? No. So this, one has to keep in mind these things. So these are the various other symbols. I am not going to that, which you get in books, all these things. Some seals. Unicorn, bull, unicorn, these are the famous. Sir, classல இருக்கேன். Classல Raipur. Sorry, I'm in Raipur class. So this, in general, I would just to conclude it in the sense that I have given you a little idea about the, without touching on the other archaeological aspects, what is relevant for us is the industrials. Even some student asks, what are the signs and basic things, you should be able to explain the students. So keeping that in view, I prepared this. Now we move on to the other general subject. Today with that we will be concluding also the importance of epigraphy as a primary source. I think this is on other forum also. I have used and same material I'm using here. You can access this in other YouTube. I go and talk. And I wanted to reframe it, but due to paucity of time and other thing, I am showing the thing and explain you how we'll touching one more general aspect. And morning, as I told, we'll try to, since I'm here only and most of you are here, better we start 10 o'clock in the morning if it is agreeable for our convener also, this, so that first half we will devote for early Brahmi. It's very essential for every one. Those who already know, try to follow it very closely. It will be a sort of refresher thing. And try to bring a good book, not this small scribbling pad. It's a note which should be preserved and practiced. Because from each day when I am going to do, you have to do this work in the evening. As far as possible, try to check it here. If I come some 15 minutes in advance or 20, I can something in the afternoon. I can, whatever you have written, I can correct it here, give some suggestions. That can be done, either coming little early here or in the evening also, or in the afternoon. So, आपको दूसरा लगाना. Because if some question in the connected with Indus also, I am not in a position to answer you, because I have not done on my own any detailed research in this. So the bare facts, whatever already other scholars have given, put it. See, the advantage in this refresher, whatever, see, there are books. People have written already. I am not going to tell something new, adding my own experience, my little interpretation. The whole, the object, you don't have sufficient time to read books. I no doubt say, read Ahmad Hasan Dani. I would have spent many hours on reading this, but you may not find time to read many books. So it's not something new. I'm telling what I am putting in a more clearer way, understandable thing, but yes, it is for you to, if you have time. What happens, most of the time, you will not have some employees and some others, they don't have time. So it is only to facilitate them to the book. There are there already, and understanding takes quite a, it's not like a novel. These technical subjects, it's pretty difficult. It's not like Agatha Christie, some novel where you hold and try to read and enjoy. But these are technical things. Unless concepts are clear to you, you can't understand the thing. Something there like a stroke or this, unless I put it writing or explain you, they keep writing certain things. But you should have that necessary knowledge, understanding. That's it. Multidimensional. Yeah.
Multidimensional.
Yeah. Am I clear? These things? Because to hold the whole day on epigraphy or paleography is difficult. Understand? Even you will hardly have 1 hour to interact with your professors. If engaging you right from morning to evening, it's difficult for me also, for you to understand also. Both the things. So thing is that how interestingly I will make it to you to understand. That is the only thing. Just 2 minutes, I will go and come back. Please be seated, just. So we'll go with the topic for this last session for this today. You can call it anyway, it is the how epigraphy studies is a primary source to understand our past. I was also referring in the morning, see, we get larger number of inscriptions. We have got still many more to come in days to come. Naturally, from different sources. It may be when you take an overall view, the inscriptions are found in different places, from the archaeological sites, from the temples, some monuments, whether in ruins or in condition. So, yes, other than this, there are a large number of inscriptions that are preserved in various museums. Maybe this museum or Ajmer, many museums have a huge collection. And most of them are published in various journals like Epigraphia Indica and re-edited again in Corpus Inscriptionum Indicarum. Many periodically brought from different journals from various universities, many academic organizations. So now we are slowly forgetting, or as I told, the due importance we are not giving to the epigraphical sources. Yes, even Sarkar has a very small subchapter or demerits of epigraphical sources. That also we can't deny. But sometimes, these scholars try to highlight it to an extent, they eclipse or overshadow other thing. It's only very marginal. The two, when you get later period inscriptions, the portion when they eulogize a king, there are paid bards, they are getting money. Even a small petty ruler, they say Chatu Samudradipati, Sakala Panchamaha, so they say all the things. So at some times, it creates, you cannot take it as on the face value. If he is a small ruler, a chieftain with so many high eulogy and unwanted things which he doesn't deserve. So there, it's like sifting the real thing and taking the... So demerits, yes, there are spurious records are there, many spurious. So that apart, demerits I view the only a small percentile. But the merits is much on the higher side because it's a contemporary record of that period. To know the society, the economic conditions, religious condition, various aspects connected with the society, it's only through these records we come to know this. So you call it epigraphical heritage. When we say sculptural heritage, art architectural heritage, why not epigraphical heritage? So it has its own great significance. Here, I have tried to, so you see two classes. One is the lithic, the inscription, and the copper plates. The physical aspect of copper plate and stone I will take later, go to the contents and other aspects later, the inscriptions. So, as I told, India is singularly rich in epigraphical wealth. It's estimated more than 1 lakh. It's a very tentative figure based on the stamp pages that are available in the Mysore Directorate. When they really taking reckoning, it found to be little lesser also. Now the digitization of the stamp pages are going on. It was going on for some time and it is temporarily suspended, that work. So it is from the, yes, the preservation of stamp pages, how far the other state governments, though they have copied, studied, how they have preserved in what condition, we don't know. I have not seen how the other directorates, if at all they copied, how they have preserved, it's a question mark. So the, if we take, the length and breadth of the country, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Bengal to Baroda, whatever, say, many inscriptions have come to light. Still, many more inscriptions are there. Yes, in the North Indian context, with my experience of nearly 40 to 43, 45 years, unfortunately, whatever the earlier scholars like Ojha, earlier scholars, they could decipher, publish, they could get well intact good inscriptions. The number of inscriptions, whether from Sanskrit or Prakrit, it would have been much more. And as you all know, in the onslaught which went rampage, in the middle, the 12th century or little earlier, how most of the temples were reduced to grounds. Because a place like Arthuna in Rajasthan, I saw a ruins stretching to 2 kilometers or more. You can well imagine how many very good inscriptions would have gone. Even Qutub Minar complex, if you take, they have reused many of the material which were earlier formed at the temple. So, naturally, we would have lost many good inscriptions. A place like Dhar, when I started re-examining, at that time, the CA of that time, called me at least like Kurmashatakar, a huge stone inscription. They have fragmented it. Not only that, they upsided and put it. Nearly many pieces I got it retrieved because, and Bhojena, Raja Bhojena Virachitam, though it's a Prakrit work with verses number, see, we lost a very good record. So we don't know many places how much. So why things in Tamil Nadu we say it stands number 1 as epigraphical wealth is concerned, large number of well intact, whether you take Tanjavur. So the degree of intensity, that did not phase, somehow they matter a lot when we speak in terms of the availability of the records. So things would have been, we don't know, we lost many things. So even now if we survey, most of the records are fragmentary nature. Yes, excavations, again, fragmented material will come somewhere. Yes, intact inscriptions, full, it's doubt either damaged or fragmentary. That's the scenario what it presents as far as North India is concerned. Maybe Rajasthan and little down south, we may get some good inscriptions. But the work of surveying also it's a big question mark. The way we were conducting epigraphical survey, at least, each tehsil we used to take for 1 month, more than a month. If that village is not surveyed, village to village survey, the concept has gone, whether in the ASI or in the epigraphy branch. We were doing that village to village survey. Whether that village yields inscription or not a different, but we used to record this tehsil has been thoroughly surveyed in our tour diaries. So another person will not visit. When he reviews that tour register, we used to record this. Then he used to move on to the next. So the village to village survey has given a go by in the present context, because mostly depending on the abhi jo WhatsApp mein aa jata hai, you get a very good number of photographs. Somebody will send you from some corner of Orissa, you will decipher and give. So because of that connectivity, or somebody will give some material, pass it on. So the real survey which could have been done, and I tell you, our younger generation have moved to a very, very comfort zone. AC room chahiye unko, good hotel accommodation chahiye. The way we did, there are days I slept in a cow shed, in a floor mill. If I lose the last bus, I have to stay, taking all the mosquito bites and one rodent, rat bite this rat. So the suffering what we have undergone, now thanks to the commission and other thing, they have put us in a very cozy platform where we can stay comfortably at room, sitting in your AC chamber and do all data. Where is that hard work gone? And because you leave our own period, and there are time in KB Subramanian and others, they used to move on the cart, bullock cart, and BL Rise like that, they have gone on horseback, where communication was nothing, and dense forests. They have moved and got us the excellent records. So are we putting real efforts? That's one question comes. So if we do that exploration, intense and extensive, if we do, I think we can retrieve many more records. So the system we have to change. What our predecessors have not done, but even now others are still in a very this one. So systems have changed over the period of time. So this still we get very rich in epigraphical wealth, no doubt about it. Many say, whatever has to be done, all done by our predecessors. What workers are now at present, they ask. No, still there are many are there. Even utilizing the works, and many time, it happens, they need to be reviewed, re-edited, I tell you. If some fleet has edited, don't think it is perfect. There are many mistakes, and earlier scholars, they were getting so many inscriptions, they didn't have so much time to devote. So कुछ brief में object लगा दिया, and they have not detailedly examined the whole inscription. कुछ date लगा दिया, कुछ object दिया, और notice कर दिया. But if you re-study, I think you can get much more details and critically edit the inscription. We have unpublished material, still many. What way of publication has come was something there. But if with this expertise, or if you have a command over the script and the language, you can do wonders. and you will be adding much more to the history already known. Much more could be written about any dynasty you name. So the systematic intensive survey done are there, and then so I told, the political history is one aspect. Now, why I'm repeatedly telling, focus on the cultural aspects. Pre-independent India, when we didn't know much about the dynasties, scholars were keen about giving a good chronological sequence to the dynastic kings. There were other aspects they didn't give much attention. Now we have a fairly well-knit dynasty history, so you can go to the other aspects. So earlier, pre-British or early 50s, focus was there. They were knowing the dynastic names and kings. Now you can change that. So the political history, yes, it is one of the major source, but here in this presentation, what I am focusing on the other things. So as I told, copper plates and stone inscriptions are the main thing. So the great importance lies in they offer about the personages, even Indian history, about which nothing is known from other source. When other sources are silent, it's only epigraphs that come to your understanding. So this is one important thing. So apart from being vital political documents, inscriptions are endowed with great cultural significance. Perhaps there is no aspect of life which is not touched upon inscriptions. You take about any society, the period that what is there, a close examinations of their inscriptions. You may come across many unknown things. So I have tried to, not in a chronological sequence, suppose I have highlighted very few, keeping mainly the students in mind, the importance of Allahabad Prashasti. You can take as a case study. They are very significant inscription. Suppose I give to you, you may view one of the best Prashastis which gives in whole sequence the political history of that period. And then a great Sanskritist will see, what a wonderful literature it is, such a very high value. A paleographer will see how the Gupta characters get changed and what are the Eastern variety, how the letters are formed. He will view in another aspect. A musician or artist will see, he will try to collaborate with the numismatic evidence where there is a reference to the Ashwamedha sacrifice and his attributes as a singer, comparing him to Gandharva or whatever. So it's how you look. Suppose Besnagar pillar inscription I tell, somebody will look it from the religious point of view. Others will see the cultural context, how a foreigner was there, and see, it depends. The inscription is there. Your perspective. That's what I meant to mean. It's not one aspect that you look for. Either the language or the script, that is one thing. But how diversified a good Prashasti, like Allahabad Prashasti or Aihole, any landmark inscriptions, even you take this Hathi Gumpha. So many things are there. So once you start analyzing, you get to know many things. So the importance is here about the political, trying to say, as far as there are many, many hundreds of inscriptions. One such is Allahabad Prashasti. of Samudragupta. Then I have come to the social conditions. This about the, I told, this recently, of course, I gave a talk on the cultural aspects of Vijayanagar inscriptions. Of course, it has not gone on record. Otherwise, all of you could have listened to that. Anyway, sometime I'll try to put it that. So here, Vijayanagar inscription, we are told that emperor, how when it comes to a dispute, how Krishnadevaraya could interfere and sort out the religious differences that was between a Jaina seer and the Vaishnavas. So his personal intervention could stop. So these are the things you can look for from the inscriptions, apart from being a political document. So the emperor settled disputes between Vaishnava Jair and a Jaina teacher so that they could, that conflict was sorted out. And the social history, again, you can see the Varadakshina. In another Vijayanagar inscription, there is a graphic account of how learned scholars in all the branches of sacred studies assembled and signed a document which forbade Kanya Shulka. Even now it's a big social melee in very different parts of India, Rajasthan and many countries, states, where still the dowry system prevails and so much of thing happening. So this, in the Vijayanagar itself period, we have an instance where they strictly forbade accepting or giving Kanya Shulka or Varadakshina. That we have a piece of information from Vijayanagar in 1500. So it addresses the modern, which is still continuing. So don't we have a piece of history from this to know what happened in the past and how there was resistance to such social melodies? And this is one thing. And then special privileges also they give to the bride and bridegroom, riding on a horse, and these are such things are there. This I am just giving. There are many, many inscriptions. I was citing this inscription, Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman. Again, this could be a great inscription where you can analyze this in various aspects as a great literary work. And the history throws the earlier phase. The Lake Sudarshana was constructed like the public utility activities, you can see, during the time of Chandragupta Maurya, and its conduits were set up during the time of Ashoka, and further you have got later on repaired, first during the reign of Rudradaman, and subsequently in the Gupta period during the reign of Chandragupta II, from their known inscription. So it gives a history, and when you read, it brings before us the devastating Aajkal jo cyclone ka, when you see the clippings, in the TV, it gives a similar image. When the entire breach, the dam, breaches, you can just, the whole water engulfing the entire population and the village. The literature is so effective when you read only the original, not the translation, that you have to read the Sanskrit. How graphically, beautifully they have described. Whether Allahabad Prashasti, when the king invites all the king, he says that you can enact a drama. Keeping this, Allahabad Prashasti, you can create a wonderful scenario where you can bring in some actors to do their roles. So so much of effect the poet has given, bringing the real situation very vividly before our eyes. So this the one, and coming to economic terms, it's very interesting. We say, we say business people. It's not merely, Sanskrit is such a term, you have got different terms to denote different business people doing their business. Say, for example, Shreshti is a Sethi, modern Sethi. It's derived from Shreshti. Sethi is a small businessman. Again, Sarthavaha, Caravan, is a businessman who moves from place to place. अलग-अलग जगह जाके वो करेगा. He moves. Sarthavaha. And then Vanija, again another term for, these all the terms, you may get many more, but these terms, it occurs in inscription. It well defines the economic condition and the different. Sanskrit is such a beautiful term. I was just looking from the architectural terms that occur in inscriptions. At least 12 names occur for temple itself. Mandir, Kirti, see what not, at least Sanskrit terms, so rich. You have a dozen small temples, shrine ke liye alag hai, mandir ke liye alag hai. I was analyzing different terms that occur in inscriptions, like Vimana, Stupi, so many terms. It's, I told, the connecting, bringing things, art, architecture. I gave a special lecture for the architect students from Bombay and bringing the architectural terms that occur in inscription. Similarly, for iconography, I brought epigraphy and iconography. There are inscriptions where you don't know what it is. Through that pedestal inscription, you will know it is Goddess Saraswati or other thing. Even Jaina, bull will be there, Rishabhanatha, the image is gone. But the image, whether it is a Naga image, whether it is some Durga, you will come to know it is through the inscription. Because partly it is broken. You can't just know. How you will decide? It is through study of inscriptions, you are connecting iconography as well as inscription. So how you can apply to different areas to bring it together to understand a proper understanding and giving a more perfect chronological base, that is the important. Literature and epigraphs. When you get a dated inscription, it has its own value. You can straight away say it is found in the dated inscription of Kushana. For the first time, Adhisthana comes, you will say, for example. So this is the importance of epigraphs. And then fortunately we have an archaeologist who was our Institute of Archaeology. Probably you would be seeing some difference in my talking and expressing things. When I made a beginning, when I had to handle the first classes, it was a very difficult task. My boss at that time asked, Ravi Shankar, आपको छुट्टी तो दे देंगे, आप जाइए sir, I don't know teaching at all. No, आप कैसे आपको introduce करेंगे बताओ. So छुट्टी देंगे. Institute of Archaeology library has a very good library है. 2-3 दिन बैठ के Indian numerals करो, शारदा script करो. 2 period मेरे लिए दिए, आपको दे रहा हूँ. I am already established. But how to introduce a scholar like you? So I fumbled. Of course, 1 or 2 classes I had to fumble, and later I picked up. So our predecessors, they took care how to groom us, how to put us on track. So I remember well because they were the earlier batches of the Institute of Archaeology, and in a small way I was teaching. But later, during R.C. Agarwal time, Ravi Shankar, he used to address Professor Ravi Shankar. Sir, aap kuch galti ho gaya. Nahi, Ravi Shankar, one who professes the subject is nothing wrong. I substantiate my statement, you are Professor Ravi Shankar. So, one who knows is a professor. Whether the university gives, the degree or that is the profession. But this is earned like that. And because like that, our Professor Raghavarya told when I was handling classes in Pattinam, Kerala, you are Ravi Shankar, a very friendly teacher with all our students. You take all along with you when you teach. So these are good compliments from senior scholars. Even Dr. Ramesh admired me, not for writing, but Ravi Shankar, you are successfully going with your classes. I am happy. So the blessings, what we receive from seniors is great. That's the thing. I fondly remember, yes, for a change, when a senior person is sitting here, I just recollected. He will also perhaps go back in memory lane and thinking 97 or 98 batch, listening to a class. So this, again, one more term, these are all connected with economics. So the weight and measures, there are inscriptions which may specify the weighing. So they gave Velvedigu, Padarakkal, these are all, Chola history is such a rich area, you get anything. That's very juicy inscriptions. My friend used to sell, sir, I have read today a very juicy inscription, sir. Juicy. Dr. Swaminathan, sir. Very juicy. So this you find. Again, the tax terms. It's a tip of the iceberg. Just I am showing. You can go more detailedly. Already scholars have written. Sarkar has written all these things. But students doesn't know when it comes to the question of interpretation. So terms like Irai, Kadamai, Echeru, these are all the tax terms. You get plenty. So what are the tax connected with the crops and water related? Again, ferrying, see, the term tax paid on different realms. For shipping one project to that one, and for water carrying, many things. So you can make a very detailed study in different contexts. What are the terms that occur in inscriptions? So these are the things, and now different professions. This is very, very significant, especially the early records when you refer to the Luder's list. He has excluded Sanskrit, Ashoka. Other than that, Luders, one index is there. That is from 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era. What are the different professions that are mentioned? He say the blacksmith, the goldsmith, ivory smith. See, we have today in a very complex society, at least how people were doing. There were people who were preparing clothes, shoemaker, horse saddle, uska alag the. There were different people doing different professions. So that we find in inscriptions. So carpentry, skilled arts is there. For example, one of the earlier record mentioned a carpenter, Vadaki. Now also the term we say, Vadaki. A carpenter. I think Hindi we call, क्या बोलते हैं हम हिंदी में carpenter को? वही. This is there. These terms, over the period it has come. What you find in early records, even now, we use the same expressions. Vadaki, Manorama figures in a Sanchi Stupa inscription of 3rd century BC. We find reference to Lohika Kara. Lohika Karaka or Lohika Kara, who works on metal, Kammara, blacksmith, guild of blazers, Kasakara. Again, there are reference to guild, potters. Pottery was a very flourishing, that's what even now gray ware pottery, when archaeologists, they go deeper into that, different variety of potteries. So it was a very guild. Many guilds were there, like oilmongers, potters. Vasakara is a person who works on bamboos. Vasakara. Vamshi, you see, Vamshi is a flute. When bamboo se hota hai na, Vamsha. So, Vasakara, saddler, Pallanakara, a person who works on the horse में वो लगाता है ना, saddle, इसको बोलते हैं Pallanakara. That is again another person who prepares. And a shoemaker, Padakara. Padakara is a person who makes a shoe. Don't you think all these are so many professions? See, agriculture is one. To help the society of that period, there were slowly at different point of time, small professions started emerging. Other than the epigraphs, you will not come to know. You may find some architectural, sculptural representation. They say, Hoysala में कितना बड़ा वो sandals है, और hair style कैसे बनाया, dress कैसे है. But this speaks epigraphically. Although representation है, but these are other supportive things when different professions were there, looking quite modern. The styles, hairstyles or earrings or ornaments. So we have many such things there. And then coloring the clothes. We have reference to Chimpaka is a person who do coloring, dyeing. Dyeing, dye होता है ना color का, वो कपड़े का वो करते हैं. That is called Chimpaka. Pravarika is a cloak maker, cloak, long trousers, cloak, dress. There's a cloak room, we have that. Rupakara, sculptor, Rupakara. Dantakara, a person who works on ivory, smith. This Dantakara, ivory. Jeweler, Prartharika is a person who works on jewels. Lapidary, Gandhika, perfumery, Gandha. We have Gandhakuti, so many early references about perfumery was a very famous profession in those days. They made perfumes, perfumery. And then in addition, we have prepares, corn dealers. Dhamnika is a person who prepares flour, corn. Flour maker, Samitakara, a person who grinds, flour, is called Samitakara. Ironmongers, Lohavaniya, Karpasa, cotton thread. Guntha is again food grains, Dhanya. So these different terms, how many terms? You got all occurring between 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era. That's 600 years. One can work on these economic terms occurring in various inscriptions, early period, and similarly their testimony to the religious conditions prevailed at the time, like Heliodorus, which I said about the Bhagavata cult. And here also we have in Malha that beautiful inscription with a Brahmi also. This and the copper plate inscription of Skandagupta refers to the sun worship. It is worship of Shiva, Vishnu is there. Yes, Kartikeya also. But sun worship was very popular. Magas, they brought from there, the other part of the country, outside India also. The sun worship was very popular. And Bhaskara, he is called by different names. Bhaskara, we described being worshipped ritualistically by enlightened Brahmanas and the protector of mankind. See, if at all the living God, right from morning we say the sun God. If he is not there, see, the entire world goes berserk. So for our mental health, for our physical health, we offer prayers to sun god. And then the Mandasur inscription is very well known because what a beautiful name it has. Deepta Rashmi is the sun god is called Deepta Rashmi in the Mandasur inscription dated 473 Common Era, where the silk weavers guild, from Dashapura. It's a very, very important record where it refers to the sun worship. Yes, this I was referring in the morning also. Now our Honorable Prime Minister also often cites now, taking some epigraphical records, the Parantaka inscription of Uttaramerur, where it cites how in a free and fair way they conducted the elections. So the wards they made, the members, the qualifications, all are beautifully dealt with in this one. Parantaka inscription of Uttaramerur, and then contains detailed account of the rules and regulations for the election of the village assembly. Though it was a smaller territorial division, but it holds good. How it was followed during Chola's period, Rajaraj, even now we are picking up the same, the Chaturvedi Mangalam. And then the distress management, what you find, now the kuch drought hai, the flood is there, how administration gets into action, providing some relief materials, either by way of cash or here this Mahasthan inscription from Bangladesh, Saugora, Gorakhpur, they speak about the measures taken at the time of drought, famine or floods or fire. This is the distress management. Now we put very good jargons to express this thing, but they did this in a more distress way. So how they helped is shown here. Again, about education, it's very important. I have given a very detailed talk on education system in ancient India up to early to the 12th century in a different context, in some Jnana Pravaha, about Fleet Memorial Lecture. There, see, we have reference to the college and the subjects studied there, and the stipends or remuneration given to the teachers, all are mentioned, especially from two very important inscriptions. From Karnataka also, even in North also, we have education system that prevailed, right from you can make a good study, utilizing all these material. And in fact, the subjects taught, the qualifications, all are mentioned here. And one of the terms, Ghatikotsava or Ghatikasthana, what we say, the Nalanda, Taxila and all these very well known educational centers, we have such mention about the education. Kanchi was one of the important centers also. And the inscription, they do highlight how from different parts of India they used to migrate, they used to come. There was a very free movement of migratory trend, what you can see from Brahmanas moving from different parts to acquire knowledge. And this, coming to this dance, the inscription which the earliest reference to a dancer is from an inscription from Jogimara, that is here, where we have, this is another one, okay. It mentions on Sutanuka, the temple dancer, Devadasi, and her lover Devadatta, a sculptor from Varanasi. This is one, I'm speaking of fine arts, like music, dance, drama, even this also our subjects touch upon. Kudumiya Malay inscription is well known, often cited, where music notes are given, notations given in this period. So Sarangadeva, this I will leave about this. Yes, coming to another very important, the high state of development which music reached, it is from a record from Karnataka, Chalukya King Vikramaditya, from Galaganatha, Haveri Taluk and district, where it says, the king gave the title Battisa Raga Bahu Kala Brahma, Battis, 32 ragas. That musician had professed 32 ragas, it is mentioned here. The king gave the title to that Barmaya, Mokhari. Mukhari is one of the ragas, and he is known for that Barmaya, Mukhari. So, and Sanskrit literary value, I told there are good number of inscriptions which earlier scholars have, like Allahabad, Aihole, and Rudradaman. At least more than a dozen inscriptions are there which are of very high literary value. That is a Sanskrit, for Sanskrit, because such a colloquium and workshop, I think you have to keep it open to the Sanskrit students also, and languages. It's not merely archaeology. If the Sanskrit students also can join, because we are closely connecting ourselves with the language and the script, and they would rather admire when it comes to their knowledge of the presence of very great inscriptions of very high literary value. And meters, this all have gone detail into this. Kavya style of Allahabad Prashasti. Talagunda is another inscription. So inscriptions far-flung and noteworthy are those of the Moors of that period that were written. And this very important aspect, I am coming to this. An inscription from Heragu in Hasan district, Karnataka, belonging to Hoysala dynasty, gives names of some members of a Kashmiri family. Right from north, they come down to the south. They are referred in inscription which migrated in Karnataka from Bhadrahu in Golavishya. Golavishya is Gulmohar. In 12 शताब्दी में ऐसा है गोला विषय modern Gulmohar, a subdivision of Kramarajya of Kashmir Rashtra. So they came down and settled, had some local alliances, they settled here, assimilated. See, whenever they moved, they brought in their culture also, they assimilated with local tradition and culture. That's also, you see that. Similarly, when these people move, they used to get. There was a free movement, I mean to say, at that point of time, whether from south to north or east to west. The migratory trend is very good, that you can, again, another topic for research, how it was there in particular movements. Sometime, the kings used to invite to particularly celebrate certain sacrifices and all this. So this Kashmiri family is there, and then to extend this, the Southeast Asia, I was referring, how Indian culture and tradition traveled along with our script and languages also. So this is known through the many inscriptions, Southeast Asia, so this Cambodia and all, the huge corpus of inscriptions are there. One need to study, review, restudy those inscriptions known from Southeast Asia. So these are the things which I broadly touch upon. So this I conclude this. So I have just shown the importance. Leave alone the political history, that is one part. But how many terms you come across when you closely examine, whether it is maybe, even I could not touch upon this, now the endowment, what the Akshaya Nivi, the permanent deposit which they used to keep, and from the accrued interest, they used to perform many rituals and all. Now we say endowment policy. Many banking terms, we have borrowed from the past. Akshaya Nivi, the permanent endowment. Many of the terms, whether it is connected banking, whether it is management, so we had everything in the past. It's something we are, but there is a history behind that we have to look for, whether it is economic terms, social terms, philosophy, religion, whatnot. Anything, is covered under this various professions. So this I want to highlight, and this should be conveyed to the, unfortunately what happens, the younger the students, the teachers, they don't know. They think epigraphs are nothing but a list of battles that were fought. This, ye jinko jagda ho gaya, ye ho gaya, they conquered this territory. These aspects remain untold. So they create a sort of aversion for the history. It's nothing but a sequence of dates and there is nothing beyond. So we have to tell our young history students there is much beyond you can look for, beyond the political history. It's not mere annexing the territory and conquering some countries. It is all, so many other objects are there which have to, so this is the thing. So in right spirit, you have to convey this to our younger generation so that they can know what is the importance of the epigraphy as a primary source to understand. So with this I conclude, and tomorrow straight away we go with the Brahmi paleographical aspect, then slowly we'll cover the remaining aspects. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका। और सर ने जैसा कि मुझे जिम्मेदारी दिया कि आखिरी में हिंदी में आप लोगों को इसको कंक्लूड करूं, ये बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। मतलब मैं महसूस कर रहा हूं कि इतनी सारी बातें आ रही हैं और मेरा जो गागर है, मेरा जो घड़ा है बहुत छोटा है, वो उसमें समा के उछल जा रहा है। तो हम लोगों को पूरी तैयारी के साथ आना है, क्योंकि इतनी सारी बातें एक साथ हमको सीखने को मिल रही हैं और उन सब चीज़ों को धारण करना, उन सब चीज़ों को साथ ही साथ नोट्स बनाते चलना, खास करके क्योंकि सर के पास सर ने जो बता रहे हैं चीज़ें, वो न जाने सैकड़ों किताबों को पढ़ करके, सैकड़ों स्थलों में जा करके उनका अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन और अपना एक्सपीरियंस जो उनके इस व्याख्यान में समा करके आ रहा है, वो आप हज़ारों किताबें पढ़ेंगे तो भी आपको नहीं गेन होना है। तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी है। जो फ्रेंड्स हमारे साथ ऑनलाइन जुड़े हैं, मैं उनसे भी रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि वे इस कार्यशाला को सीरियसली लें, और ऐसा अवसर बार बार नहीं आता है। कुछ चीज़ें जो सर ने कहीं, वो उस जिम्मेदारी को निभाते हुए मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि जो टर्म्स हैं, टेक्निकल टर्म्स हैं, टर्मिनोलॉजी होता है हर डिसिप्लिन का, वैसे ही सर ने जो अंग्रेजी में कुछ टर्म्स कहे, जब लेखन कला का विकास नहीं हुआ था, लिपि आई नहीं थी, फॉर्मेशन नहीं हुआ था, तब जो शुरुआत हुई मैंने प्री हिस्ट्री से लेकर के प्रोटो हिस्ट्री में चित्रात्मक लिपि, विचारात्मक लिपि, ध्वन्यात्मक लिपि, तो इस तरीके से, चूँकि देखिए लिपि का कहीं ना कहीं संबंध भाषा से है। कोई चीज़ हम कम्युनिकेट करना चाहते हैं, अगर लैंग्वेज डेवलप नहीं है तो हम इशारे से, संकेत से हम उसको कम्युनिकेट करना चाहते हैं। तो वहाँ से एक्चुअली वो जो स्क्रिप्ट है उसका फॉर्मेशन शुरू होता है। वो हमारे आइडिया, हमारे थॉट को हम कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए विभिन्न अभिप्रायों का, संकेतों का, चित्रों का उपयोग कर रहे होते हैं। फिर धीरे धीरे जब लिपि का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, जो हम कहना चाह रहे हैं वही चीज़ हम एग्जैक्ट लिखें, तो उसके लिए जब अक्षर का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, तब तक आते आते जो है वो प्रोटो हिस्ट्री के बाद हिस्टोरिकल पीरियड में आकर के वो चीज़ आती है। इसीलिए जो सर ने एक बात कही ना कि लेखन कला की प्राचीनता को आमतौर पे हम ब्राह्मी लिपि की प्राचीनता से जोड़ते हैं, तो उसमें कंफ्यूज होने की होता क्यों है? क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ जब भी हम लिपि की बात करते हैं तो सिस्टमेटिक जो लिपि का एक स्टडी है वो जेम्स प्रिंसेप ने जो स्टार्ट किया अशोकन ब्राह्मी को डिसाइफर करके, तब से शुरू करते हैं। इसलिए ये भ्रम होता है और इस भ्रम में हमको नहीं रहना चाहिए। और ख़ास करके जो हड़प्पन स्क्रिप्ट के बारे में सर ने कहा, बहुत अच्छे से जितने भी स्कॉलर लोगों ने काम किया है उसको कहते हुए भी सर बचते रहे कि उस पर ज़्यादा ऐसी कोई बात नहीं कही जाए जिससे दूसरे लोग असहमत हों, और होना भी चाहिए क्योंकि हर विषय में हर कोई मास्टर नहीं हो सकता। तो एक प्रकार से हड़प्पन स्क्रिप्ट को हम रिडल ऑफ इंडियन एपिग्राफी भी मान सकते हैं, जो अभी तक ऐसी पहेली है जिसको हम सुलझा नहीं पाए हैं। लेकिन पहेली तो सुलझाने के लिए ही होती है, आज नहीं तो कल सुलझ जाएगी। इसी उम्मीद के साथ इस काम को आगे भी बढ़ाया जा रहा है। और ग्रेफिटी मार्क्स की जैसे चर्चा हो रही थी, तो आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि ग्रेफिटी मार्क्स को खास करके चाल्कोलिथिक या आयरन एज के साथ जोड़ करके देखा जाता है। और बड़े उत्साह की बात यह है कि अभी हाल ही में जो हमारे विभाग के द्वारा रीवा में एक्सकवेशन हो रहा है, अभी 2-3 दिन पहले सर हमें ग्रेफिटी मार्क्स वाले पॉटरी मिले हैं। तो इन सब चीज़ों का एनालिसिस होना चाहिए। एपिग्राफिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पॉटरी का अपना एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट होता है, उसकी अपनी एक क्रोनोलॉजी होती है। तो इन सब चीज़ों का आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ कनेक्शन होता है, और यही कनेक्शन जो है हमें फाइनल कंक्लूजन तक लेके जाता है। इन सब का तुलनात्मक अध्ययन होना चाहिए। और कुछ नाम जैसे सर ने अभी बहुत सारे टर्म्स बताए, अलग अलग इंस्क्रिप्शन में अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में प्रचलित हैं, हमारे यहाँ भी मिलते हैं। सिरपुर में जो इंस्क्रिप्शन है रानी वास्ता का, उसमें केदार का उल्लेख स्थपति के रूप में मिलता है, ही वॉज आर्किटेक्ट। उसी तरह सूत्रधार का नाम आता है, उत्कीर्णक का नाम आता है। एक श्रेणी है मालाकारह, मालाकारह जो गार्लैंड बनाने का काम करता था, वो गंधर्वेश्वर मंदिर के स्तंभलेख में उसका जिक्र आया है। और महाशिवगुप्त बालार्जुन ने उस तैलिक मालाकार श्रेणी को ये आदेश दिया था कि वे प्रतिदिन एक मानवाकार पुष्पों की माला जो है गंधर्वेश्वर मंदिर में अर्पित करेंगे एज ए टैक्स। तो कितनी सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन जो है वो निकल करके इंस्क्रिप्शन से आते हैं, क्योंकि इंस्क्रिप्शन तो सबसे मजबूत आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस माने ही जाते हैं। और नित्यानंद सर हमारे बीच हैं, भारतीय पुरातत्व सर्वेक्षण रायपुर मंडल में पदस्थ हैं। जैसा कि सर ने बताया, हमारे जैसे कई लोग सर के स्टूडेंट हैं। और नित्यानंद सर की खास बात ये बताएं, जैसे अभी सर बता रहे थे ना कि बहुत सारे सीनियर्स ने उनकी तारीफ की कि आप कितना अच्छा जुड़ जाते हैं स्टूडेंट से, कितना अच्छा आप उस ज्ञान की विधा को दूसरों तक पहुंचा पाते हैं। और वो जो कैलिबर है तभी आता है जब आप खुद उस दौर से गुजरते हैं। बिना एक्सपीरियंस के, बिना हैंड टू हैंड प्रैक्टिकल के वो क्षमता आ ही नहीं सकती। इसीलिए रविशंकर सर जब बात करते हैं तो फिर मैंने उठने का मन नहीं करता, उनको छोड़ के जाने का मन नहीं करता है, इतना अच्छा होता है। और एक चीज़ बात बताएं कि इस स्टेज में आकर के भारतीय पुरातत्व सर्वेक्षण में बहुत बड़े बड़े इंटेलेक्चुअल हैं, इवन स्टेट आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट में भी कई बड़े इंटेलेक्चुअल हैं। बता नहीं रहे हैं नित्यानंद सर, मैं बता देता हूँ। गया यूनिवर्सिटी में असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर में उनका सिलेक्शन हो गया है, लेकिन वो जाना नहीं चाह रहे। तो ऐसी भी स्थितियां आती हैं कि मतलब हम जिस जगह पे इतने साल सेवा दे चुके हैं और इतना सब कुछ कर चुके हैं, उस मुकाम को छोड़ करके दूसरे मुकाम पे जाना बहुत कष्टदायक होता है और कई बार हम निर्णय नहीं कर पाते हैं। और बहुत सारे डिजिग्नेशंस की चर्चा हो रही थी सर के व्याख्यान में। हमारा जो किरारी का काष्ठ स्तंभ लेख है, आप लोग पढ़िए उसको, उत्कीर्ण लेख में उसका पूरा मूल पाठ दिया है। उस पूरे इंस्क्रिप्शन में सर किरारी में जो एक अवसर पे पूरे राजा के अधिकारी उपस्थित थे और उन सभी अधिकारियों का डिजिग्नेशन वहाँ पे दिया हुआ है क्रम से। तो ये बहुत ही अच्छी परंपरा हमको मिलती है। ताड़पत्र, भुजपत्र, शिलालेख, ये इनसे इतिहास का ऐसा कोई प्रसंग नहीं है जो अछूता रहा हो। अभी हाल ही में सर एक कॉपर प्लेट हमको धमधा में मिला। कॉपर प्लेट को नॉर्मली हम मानते हैं कि दान पत्र होता है, लैंड डोनेशन, विलेज डोनेशन या एनी काइंड ऑफ डोनेशन उसमें रिकॉर्ड किया जाता है। धमधा में जो कॉपर प्लेट मिला हमको तालाब से, तालाब में जो लाट या स्तंभ होता है युग, उसमें जड़ा हुआ था वो ताम्रपत्र। और उस ताम्रपत्र में वो जो तालाब है, दानी तालाब, उसका कब पहला खुदाई कब हुआ, कब तालाब बना, तड़ाग निर्माण कब हुआ, और उसके बाद 60 साल 70 साल के अंतराल में 2 बार उसका जीर्णोद्धार हुआ। तो वो